Hey everyone, in this video we want to talk about love, and we want to talk about something that we've seen kind of get conflated out there, and it's this idea of, love versus a relationship.
And and often it's like talked about in unconditional love, like I don't have unconditional love.
Yeah, people talk about like they want to seek, unconditional love. And some people say, well, unconditional love
is bullshit.
Doesn't exist. Like everything's conditional. Like you're never going to be in a relationship with unconditional love, because are you saying that like if your partner, went out and murdered someone, did all these horrible things that you would still like be with them and love them? And this is why we want to address it, is because there's two separate things here that people are conflating: love for another human and a relationship, being in a relationship with them. Two different things. And so all relationships are conditional, period.
Every single one.
Every single relationship, because the whole point of being...
Don't act shocked.
Yeah, right?
Everyone's like,
oh
my husband doesn't have conditions on me.
Like, yeah, they do. Every relationship's conditional.
That's why they cheat.
So when you get in a relationship with someone, you're entering into that relationship with expectations about the other person, about how the relationship will progress. All of these are conditions where if they aren't met, then the relationship may not work. Generally speaking, you want to be in a relationship where those expectations focus primarily on mutual growth and, especially mutual self-growth. Since you can't grow someone else, you can only grow yourself. So you want to be with someone where they realize.
To choose someone that is on the same evolutionary path as you.
Yes, exactly.
Because when there's a mismatch, that's when marriages break up, right?
Yeah, marriages break up, boyfriend, girlfriends break up,
or you resent the other person and then you cheat on them.
Or you stay in the relationship and you just resent them because your needs aren't getting met.
And you live a miserable fucking life.
Yeah. Like
no one wants that.
Relationships are conditional, hands down. There's not a single exception to that rule. Love, on the other hand, is completely different. And it's evident in the fact that you might not be able to be in a relationship with another human being, but you still love them. Like no matter what happens, there's a part of you where you're like, I empathize with everything that you go through, and I want to be there for you if it's not going to like hurt me. I want to be there for you. And that's like an unconditional love. Like no matter what they do, you want to kind of be present. You want to still be within their bubble of space, metaphorically speaking.
Exactly. And we'll go to like my last marriage.
Yeah, okay.
Not this one.
Not this one.
Yeah, this one I did better. But I stayed in that, and I gave up all my conditions to stay to help his kids because they didn't have a mother around.
Yeah.
And so I sacrificed my safety and gave up all my conditions for those children, right?
Yeah.
That was not like I was resentful. I did not like my life at all.
You were also just putting yourself in harm's way by staying in a relationship.
I could be dead easily. Like it happened. Or it almost happened multiple times, because I had these ideals, which is what I see most people that say they're unconditionally loving their partner. What they mean is that they're in an unconditional relationship.
That's not healthy.
That's not healthy. That's not safe. Even if the other person isn't hurting you physically, like my last circumstance, it still makes you resent the fuck out of the person. Yeah. And it's not healthy for either of you guys to force it because of some societal like idea that was indoctrinated into us from like religious backgrounds, right?
Yeah. And sticking kind of with your past marriage too, you can see a difference here between the love and the relationship, because after she finally added conditions to her relationship and she left her ex-husband
because he would not stop hitting.
And then when we started first dating, all throughout from the time you left him to throughout like the first half of our like dating period, before he ended communication, you were still regularly in communication with him and trying to help him and trying to help
money
the kids.
to the kids and,
sending gifts. I mean, we helped him move across the country, right, to a new home, because you still had love for him and his kids.
I wanted his well-being to, I don't know, flourish. Like, I don't want, I will always feel that way, but I will not be in an unconditional relationship ever again.
Yeah, and so you can see how you know, in your case, you learned your lesson, so to speak, but now you can see how there is a clear separation where, okay, it was good that I started putting conditions on my relationship, but it's also evident that doing that didn't affect your love for him either. Like, you still had unconditional love.
No,
right?
And I do think that there's a differentiation between unconditional love too. Some people don't have that. I wrote a post a while ago. I don't know if you guys read it. It was on unconditional love, and in the comment thread, some people were like, if my children killed someone, I would not love them anymore. And that, I don't know what to say about that, because that's not how I operate. I would still have love for someone, even if they, like, if he murdered someone, I would probably still love him. Yeah. Would I be with him? No, probably not. But I would love him still, and I would still want the best for him. And that's what unconditional love is.
Yeah, and so, again, we have a separation between relationships and love, but then within love itself, you do enter into murky water, because...
Oh, yeah, my ex had conditions on me, like whether he loved me or not.
Yeah, and that's the question. Like, can you love unconditionally? There, you know, you get into kind of this theoretical and abstract, philosophical discussion about, like, well, maybe, you know, in order to love someone unconditionally, conditions need to be met that facilitate that, right? Like, a person, so to speak, needs to check certain boxes.
Yeah, but that's usually gauged before you enter into the relationship, right? Yeah. And you still love that person, because when you fall in love, it's a chemical, like, manifestation, which I've also written about extensively, like love addiction and the such. But you still love that person even if they're not meeting that conditions. Like, if I was to, we talked about this earlier, if I was to get all fat, would you like stay married to me?
Well, yeah, and I would probably, like, support your weight loss efforts, but
if I didn't want to lose weight?
Yeah, it got into kind of, you know, an awkward discussion, because I've never really thought about that before. But it's like, if you enter into a relationship with another human, and again, there are certain expectations that both of you have. And
like, I don't want to date someone that uses drugs. Like, if he got into that, I'd probably, like, really separate myself from it.
Yeah, but there's a point where it's like, well, you're heading in one direction, but I want to be there and I want to help you kind of head into a different direction. But you can only do so much to, like, help steer a person, right? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And so it gets into that territory where it's like, you know, regardless of what your expectations are, you know, I think it's important to realize that the only, like, not leaving someone, the only reason you might think that way is because that's what you've been told to think through your societal upbringing.
Exactly. And so I think that a lot of relationships would be a lot better if they just discounted all that conditioning.
Yeah.
And ask themselves, well, am I holding up my end? A lot of women, I see a lot of women do this. They get fat after they get married. I'm going to, like, call it how it is right now. And then the men cheat. Well, you didn't hold up your end of the bargain. So what did you expect him to do?
Yeah, but I'm going to come in here and get on the men's team here too, because, I mean, there's usually a lack of communication in these things too. And this is actually kind of like, you say, what do you expect the men to do? Well, I would expect the man to voice his dissatisfaction.
Yeah, but usually they do. Like, I've been around enough married couples. They usually do. And the women just make excuses after excuses, and they don't understand.
Yeah.
I mean, it is hard. I have sympathy too, but when you enter into a relationship and you are super fit and you care about your health, like, that's a contract that you're going into that relationship caring about health.
Yeah.
And then you can't just, like, decide one day, just, like, fuck it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And we're using, like, health and weight as our example because it's a really simple and easy example.
And we're both in the health field.
But, so. I mean, this really applies to everything. Like, again, she used, like, the drug example, I mean,
like if someone becomes a raging alcoholic when, sorry, a raging alcoholic, like after you get married, when they had no like tendencies to misuse alcohol, like, and you ask them to get help, they show no interest in changing, that is a condition that was broken when you were entering into your marriage. Like, those things, you can't do death do you part or whatever.
Yeah.
On that kind of stuff. Like, that's not.
It really just comes down to, you need to really look internally and ask, are you happy? And if you're not happy,
yeah.
I mean, being honest with yourself, if you're not happy, then you need to start exploring why. Are you not happy because of
you didn't communicate what you wanted?
Yeah, or like, is the issue you? Because I mean, let's be real. You know, you're the only thing that can make yourself happy. So is it because you are engaging in behaviors and the such that actually don't make you happy, and it can be fixed by you taking responsibility and changing your behaviors? Or is your like low happiness, are you not happy because of the way someone else is acting in the relationship with you?
Oh my god.
She's going a little crazy, I don't know. So yeah, that's kind of what we just wanted to touch on, is that
the conflation of unconditional love with unconditional relationships. They are two separate things.
Yes, exactly. And once you get into unconditional love, it can be murky territory, but you need to be true to yourself. You need to realize that you can still love and support another human without being in a relationship to them.
Exactly, and that's shown with children all the time. Like, not many people would say if their child screwed up, they would stop loving them, right? Like, children are a very easy way to look at this topic.
Yeah,
right?
Agreed. Anything else you want to add?
No.
All right, awesome. So if you liked our little rant today, then awesome, that's what we're trying to do. And if you know someone who you think would enjoy the information we gave in this video, then share our video with them.
Bye.
Thanks.